How's it going, my comic shit? I'm here today with Nandor Shaffer, the creator of Seasons and now Manchild. How you doing, Nandor?
I'm doing all right, Cody. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
Yeah, man, we've got a part two. So, Manchild, what is Manchild about?
Manchild is a story that is dedicated to Stan Lee and the Marvel Age of Comics, and also a commentary on comic book fandom. So it tells two stories, and two stories simultaneously as you're reading the issues, and it's going to be a 6-issue miniseries, and the issue 1 is on Kickstarter right now. And so, yeah, it tells two stories, and one story takes place in this Silver Age inspired superhero universe, and the second story takes place in the modern day, following this comic book geek, this guy who goes to the comic book store every Wednesday, hangs out with his friends, talks about comics, everything that a comic book fan can relate to. You get to see kind of where he is in his life, and his name's Rufus, and he's basically the man-child, or man-child of the story. So that's kind of him. And I forgot to mention, in the Silver Age universe, the superhero for that is called the Monarch Crier, and he's the Monarch Butterfly character that you see on the campaign page, and that you have there with your postcard. But yeah, that's it. So
Yeah,
that's the Monarch Crier, and he's saving his fiancee Joanne as she's falling there. So he's flying up to save her, and then in the corner there, that's the main villain. That's Professor Pilgrim, and he is this super tech genius who's the sovereign of this island in the North Pacific. And you see Rufus and his friends outside Uncle Chester's comic shop on the bottom there, rooting Monarch Crier on. So it's a lot of things there. There's a lot going on with the story, and it's really a celebration of the medium, and looking at the trajectory of heroes, and how they kind of started with the Silver Age, and in their renaissance with the Silver Age, and how they've evolved over time. And the series really looks at what it means to be a hero, and how Stan Lee's life, it has some Easter eggs on his life and the type of person he was. And I did a lot of research. I after he passed away was really the spark for the idea for Manchild, because a world without Stan Lee was a lesser world, and I wanted to give back and do something. And I wanted to write a story kind of for him, somewhat about him, but it's very, very nuanced and vague. I really just took little pieces of his life that I thought were really interesting, and kind of wove them into the story itself. So there's a lot that, if you're a fan of Stan Lee, you'll really enjoy. And the Silver Age portion of the story with the Monarch Crier is all told in like a Silver Age type of way. So you have all those captions, you have a lot of the bravado and the excitement that you would read in those older comics. But then at the same time, you'll flip the page and you'll be in the modern day, and the way the story is being told and the way the comic is really laid out is different in its style, because it's more like a modern day comic book. So you get this push and pull between the two stories.
all right. And is Uncle Chester's comic shop a real place?
It's not. It's a fictional place, but I will say that the interior of Uncle Chester's comic shop, and a lot of what happens in there are things that I've experienced or seen in comic book stores and in my own comic book shops and stuff. So there is a lot of my history with comics and my love for comics in this book, and so it's very personal, but also really imaginative, and trying to get back to the wonder of what it's like to be a kid and love these heroes.
All right. What time period is this set in? His suit makes it look like the 80s with the domino mask.
Yeah. So it really the Silver Age storyline takes place. Uh, like the style of it is all 60s and 70s,
Oh,
and it has all of that aesthetic of that, and then the modern day takes place, in the present day world. So um, with the Silver Age story, it all looks retro and vintage, but um, it doesn't have a specific timestamp because I wanted to have someone read it and not feel like they're necessarily being taken to a pastime, but only a pastime in style, not necessarily in time. So it keeps the reader kind of guessing, and it kind of gives that sense of imagination where you kind of fill in the spaces and the pieces for yourself. And I thought that was really fun, and the way that the colors are done for that time, for that Silver Age story, really keeps you feeling like you're reading a Silver Age book.
all right. And when can we expect the new seasons? Well, seasons volume, would it be volume 3, or does it have a?
Yeah, it would be volume 3. Yeah, so we're gonna be working on volume 3 pretty soon here, and it'll probably we'll be making.
A little bit of technical difficulty, but that never hurt us. So,
Yeah, so we were talking about seasons, yeah, and like where volume three's going, and yeah, we're gonna be working on that in a couple months, and we'll be making announcements probably after. I'm still fulfilling volume 2 right now because there's been some shipping delays on the volume 2 books. I got some advanced copies and I shipped them out, but I'm still waiting on the rest of them, and so once I fulfill all that, get all that done, and then once the Manchild campaign ends, I'm going to be working with Anthony, the artist, and we're going to be thinking about, planning out how we're going to bring out fall and how that's all going to go. But we're really, really both excited about Volume 3. So it's going to be better than ever. It's going to be a really, really fun time, and it's going to be the biggest season story, so the longest one. It's going to have the most pages and all that, so it's really cool.
all right. So, I guess if people haven't seen the first part about seasons, give us the quick pitch about what seasons is about.
Yeah, so Seasons is a planned 4-volume graphic novel series, and it is a supernatural, grounded superhero story that follows this young man through one year of his life. And with each passing season, his abilities change. So his powers change depending on the season of the year, and it's this 1 year journey that you follow him on, that you get to see. Him go through his own struggles. His name's Fletcher, and so you see Fletcher uh, deal with an emotional and physical obstacle in his way with each book, and you really get to learn more and more about him as the series goes, and you get to see him grow as a character. And it is a story about self-actualization and trying to tap into your potential as a person and not letting past trauma or the things that have dragged you down keep you there. So it's a very inspiring story in that way because he deals with a lot of things in terms of adapting to his new abilities and adapting to new things in his life, and also new relationships that he starts to make and trying to understand his limits as a person and kind of confronting his past and the person that he used to be. And so there's a lot of uh, really introspective, analytical things going on with him, and he's a very obsessive kind of analytical person. So it really, you really get to peer into his world and to his mind, and he's starts out as a blank slate in volume 1, and then you start to gradually learn more and more about him, and then as you get to volume 2, uh, all has been revealed at the end of volume 1, and it's really taking him on this path of um, okay, with all that's been revealed and all the things that I've accepted about myself, how do I move on and how do I rectify or resolve some of these issues. And so I've always kind of said and seen Volume 1 as Fletcher in the pit of darkness and of his own soul, and then Volume 2 is Fletcher in the wilderness and is him journeying and in the desert, trying to bridge between the darkness and the light. So that's what Volume 2 really is. So you started out in this really dark place with him, and then gradually, as we go on, we hope to move to a lighter and brighter place for the character.
All right. Would you say your comic books reflect your life in some way?
Sort of. I mean, I kind of always give the standard answer of, every writer kind of puts a little bit of himself into his books. I think that's what makes characters really relatable, because if people understand where you've come from, and if you're able to take feelings and emotions you felt, put them in a character, usually other people will feel those same things or have felt those same things. So there's definitely a lot. I've noticed a theme of mine in my writing is change, and is growing, and is becoming a better person, or trying to understand what it means to be a better individual. And that's something that as I've gotten older and as I've owned more responsibility in my life, that's something I've noticed about myself, and something that I think a lot of people struggle with on a day-to-day basis, and trying to choose between one thing or the other, and where they want to take their life, and what kind of position they're in. And is that something they can change? Is there something better out there? Is there a higher standard, or a higher call to being a human in this world? And that's what I feel like superheroes reflect. And that's why I really gravitate towards superheroes, because you look at these heroes and you want to be them. And whether it's not just, having their abilities, but it's having their ideals, and having their compassion and forgiveness, and all those really great characteristics that can make a human being kind of transcend all of their potential for evil or for harm. And when you meet a really kind person, that really stays with you. And I think that's kind of tapping into something that kind of transcends what we're able to do.
Okay. And did it launch August 2nd, or it ends August 2nd?
So Manchild, so Manchild launched August 2nd. We're in the second week right now. So things have been going good. We're 40% funded. We're almost over 1,900. So the goal is 4,500. And we got 18 days left. So we've been on course to fund. Everything's been going pretty well. It's pretty comparable to my other campaigns. Usually the first week or first week and a half is really good. Second and third week kind of be a little slow, and then that last week just goes crazy. So it's been really good. I'm really happy with it, and I'm really confident it'll fund. There's always that worry, of course, but I've been looking at my past campaigns and how everything compares, and I know a lot of people like to wait the last second, and I totally get that. But it's been good. I'm really happy with it. And I did want to mention that the campaign features variant covers from major Marvel, DC, and Image artists. So you'll see, So one cover is by Welby, and he worked with Jim Krueger and Alex Ross on the latest Marvel's X series from Marvel Comics. And also, there's the Eisner Award-winning artist Tony Harris. He worked on Starman in the 90s, and he worked with Brian K. Vaughan on Ex Machina for Vertigo. Also, Nick Pitara, who worked on Manhattan Projects with Jonathan Hickman for Image. And he also is doing Leviathan with John Layman right now. And then Tom Riley, who did an issue of Immortal Hulk recently, and he also did a X-Men title recently too. So I've been able to work with these professional artists on this book. So if you look at the campaign and you see some of the variant covers there's some really, really cool stuff and some really great artwork from some professional talents in the industry right now.
Stretch goals. Can we get an exclusive on the stretch goals?
So with stretch goals, I haven't announced any yet because I'm really waiting to get closer to funding and then we can talk about them. But I will say that I do have a list of what I would love to do. And some of that includes some trading cards. Some of that includes doing some free prints for backers and printing fan art. I've been getting fan art for the comics, so I've been wanting to share that with everyone. And I think it'd be really cool if people got if this fan art became prints or became trading cards for people. Something I'd really love to do is maybe do a small separate print run of the first issue where it's newsprint. So like where it feels like an old comic. I think that'd be really cool.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I was like, if we hit goal and we have enough time, that's definitely going to be something I'm going to want to do.
All right. How was you able to get a hold of all of these professional artists?
It took a lot of persistence. It was a matter of catching them at the right time. When they were in between projects. I started reaching out to them like last year. So it was just a matter of keeping in touch and trying to schedule things with them. And I just go on their website, look at their contact information, hopefully they respond. You never know sometimes because a lot of them can be super busy and they're working on really hard projects or meeting deadlines and so yeah, it was just trying to reach out to the people that I really loved and people I've grown up loving and seeing if they liked the project. And thankfully all of them really thought the project looked awesome and they wanted to contribute to it. So it really, really made me happy.
Is the book finished right now? It just needs to be funded and printed and shipped out, or?
Yeah, so all the script is done. Half of the art for the first issue is done, and after it's funded, all the funds are going to go to finishing production. So that's the art and the lettering and the printing and shipping of the book. So all of the funds for the campaign is going into finishing the book and shipping it out to backers. Any excess funds are just going to go straight into the next issue.
Okay. Where can people pick up seasons from?
Well, I would really hope so on the Manchild campaign, there's a Foxhole Comics bundle. So Foxhole Comics is my brand, is my label that I have on my books. And there's a bundle on the campaign where you can get all three of my books. You can get Seasons Volume 1, Seasons Volume 2, Lifeline, and Manchild Issue 1. And only for $80, and that's over 300 pages of comics. So it's a lot of content, a lot of story, and you'll get to catch up on everything that I've worked on. So I really would push people if they want to get seasons. That's the best way to get it. Also, they can contact me personally or go to my website, seasonsthecomicbook.com, and they can contact me and let me know which books they want, and we can work something out.
All right. Well, is there anything you want to say before we go?
I just want to say, please back Manchild Issue 1 on Kickstarter. It ends at the end of August. So on September 1st, actually, that's the last day that you can back the campaign. I'd really encourage everyone to do that. I really can't, make comics without your support. And it's something that I want to keep doing. So if you believe in independent, creators and want to support them, I really hope that you'll check it out and that you like it.
All right. Thank you, Nandor.
Thank you.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comicchatauthority? Oh, come on. Subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.